All right, everyone, I'm in the clear in Grand Rapids, so we're going to start talking about this. Okay, so let's get our bearings first. We have the remnants of a tornado warning for Kent County. We have a tornado warning in effect for parts of Barry County, the southeasternmost part of Kent County. This is an observed tornado, by the way, and this is also in effect for Ionia County. Now, this is going to be in effect all the way until, let's see here. Until 10:15 p.m. It's moving east at 55 miles per hour. Okay. We also have severe thunderstorm warnings with a considerable damage threat and a possible tornado for 70 mile per hour winds. That is in effect for Eaton County as well as Ionia County. Now, these storms are not there yet, but they will be. And again, we could have little embedded tornado signatures coming in with all of these. Okay, so really what I'm going to be looking for here is these little notches that form. So when there's a notch, we can get a little inflow, which starts off as some rotation. We had one of those going over the Hastings area right now. We also had this one move through parts of Grand Rapids. But again, this is an observed tornado that somebody witnessed on the ground. So let's go back into that and read it just a little bit more for you. There we go. I think my picture looks a little off. I'm going to try and fix that for you really quick. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I do apologize for this, everyone. I rushed in here as soon as I could. All right, so back to the tornado warning now. We'll see who witnessed it. A confirmed tornado is located near Freeport or 10 miles northwest of Hastings, moving east at 55 miles per hour. It was likely reported by law enforcement or a chaser that was on the ground. So now these are going to be very difficult to see coming because, one, it's dark outside. There's actually not a ton of lightning with this particular cell coming through. And, well, a lot of it is rain wrapped as well. So let's take a look at our velocity scope here. We'll switch it over and take a look. All right, so this is showing it quite well, the areas that we have in question. Change this color to something more obvious, like a bright blue. Okay. So we got this area right here that we are going to watch out for. That is right along M50 getting toward Lake Odessa right now. And then let's see, we also have this, most likely this little notch right here that went just north of the city of Hastings. Again, these are moving to the east at 55 miles per hour. So we'll see what the National Weather Service does. At this point, probably going to extend that tornado warning a little bit, which would put it toward the Lansing area and toward Clinton County as well. Again, we'll wait and see exactly. Down to the southwest, Berrien County, south of St. Joseph. We're getting pretty far to the south here, so let's switch radar sites just so we can get a clearer picture. There we go. Yep, so we're seeing those notches right around this area as well for that tornado warning that was coming through. That'll put it most likely just north of Niles and getting awfully close to Dowagiac as well in Cassopolis. So, yeah, actually getting close to Buchanan. But I'm still thinking it might go kind of actually right toward the Niles area. So I'll zoom in just a little bit more. So Niles definitely be in your safe place. Buchanan as well. Berrien Springs, you are just out of this tornado warning. But again, it's most likely going to move over to the east eventually as well by Cassopolis. And we'll still watch out for severe thunderstorm warnings that are going on across Ionia, Eaton, Barry, the easternmost part of Kent County now, and down to the south for Kalamazoo County as well. So let's flip it back over to a mode that we're a little more accustomed to, which is just the regular radar, the velocity. I'm going to switch it back over to the Grand Rapids site here. All right. So we got this very intense Boeing segment coming on through. The northern end is losing a little bit of steam. There's still going to be some gusty winds up to the north, though. So we'll watch out for just the possibility for some small tree limbs coming down to some 40 or 50 mile per hour gusts to the north. But most of the activity is down to the south. And again, we're just watching this cluster of storms as it comes through. We still have more back over by Chicagoland area, Gary, Indiana. That's moving over the southern part of Lake Michigan. So for St. Joseph, getting in toward the South Haven area, you'll have more headed your way as well. And further off to the north, I'm just going to take a little tour around the radar because I don't want to leave anyone out. But at this point, I don't think the severe weather is going to materialize very well to the north. This is going to be largely down to the south. For the Upper Peninsula, we got a couple light rain showers moving through and some more steady soaking rains off to the west. A little bit of good news, it'll take care of the fire danger there for us. But back down to the south, again, we're keeping an eye on these 2 active tornado warnings in the state of Michigan now. We are still looking at the southern part of Ionia County and the northern part of Berry County. So Hastings toward Carlton, Lake Odessa, like I was saying earlier, Clarksville, also keeping an eye on the possibility for some very strong winds and likely the possibility for that tornado to still come through as well. Remember, that tornado was confirmed. It was an observed tornado in the warning here. So if we go up to the radar, we can click on it. And we also have some of those very strong winds coming through as well. All right. Notice the considerable damage tag that was thrown onto a lot of those there. These will continue to make their way over to the east, although I am fairly confident at this point we're talking about anyone along and south of I-96 and I-69 for this activity as it comes on through. All right. So we kind of had our initial round coming through with this cluster of warnings around West Michigan and the Grand Rapids area. They are losing a little bit of steam, not too much though, just a little bit. And the ones by Kalamazoo are moving down from the northwest. So let me put it on a loop here for you. So there's the loop. You can see the line now is kind of curving a little more down to the south and east, or kind of moving straight to the east. So Lansing, Charlotte, I would definitely get ready for this to roll on through. Battle Creek as well, we'll start to see some very strong winds also. And again, watching all this activity across the southern part of Lake Michigan coming on in still, we have a very dynamic system back over that way that's going to be bringing us some more active weather as we go throughout the next couple of hours. If I can flip it over to the Chicago radar, there it is. You got the airport radars on there too, which is really cool. But yeah, once this kind of initial line goes through, we'll be pretty much in the clear. So we're just looking for that to come on by this evening. So hopefully it's not going to keep us up too late, unless you're over on the east side of the state, particularly, again, along and south of 94, or maybe even up toward the I-69, 96 corridors. We'll keep an eye on this for you. I will keep an eye on this for you. I'm going to try and peek at some of your comments over on Facebook. I got like a triple monitor setup going here, so keeping an eye on everything for you. Again, these are going to take some time to cross the state. So if you are in eastern areas like Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, Flint, or the Detroit area, you still have a couple of hours to go before this heads your way. So let's switch back over to the Grand Rapids radar and take a check of our tornado warning here. I'm going to flip it over to correlation coefficient really quick. The warning is going to be allowed to expire at this point, or they probably would have extended it. So let's just take a look at the correlation coefficient. This is a nice way to kind of see debris in the atmosphere if it is being wafted up in the atmosphere. We can have the radar kind of detect colors with it there. So we do have a little bit. Yeah, I don't really think that's too much. So we are seeing some pretty consistent colors. We like to see consistent colors. If there was a bright blue circle right in the middle of the tornado warning, you'd be watching out for that. This down here isn't looking like much because we have some gaps in the reflectivity there as well. So yeah, see, it was showing a little bit of a gap here because there's nothing there. But all the rest is uniform, which means it's seeing uniform things in the atmosphere, which means raindrops. If it didn't see uniform things in the atmosphere, we'd be seeing like a bright blue ball, and that means that there's something else mixed in with those raindrops. It's like, hey, instead of vanilla ice cream, I'm seeing chocolate chips in here. What's up? That's how the radar kind of tells what's going on, and it's really that simple. So it can tell that there's different size things going on in the cloud. So sometimes that's debris, but when it's all uniform, like what we just saw right here, see how it's like all pink and purple and stuff? What we don't want is like a bright blue ball showing up there. You do get a little bit of blue here and there on the edges and where there's gaps in the rain because there's just nothing there. But where there is precip, it's all uniform, and that's what I like to see. Could be a little bit of a hail core because there's lightning showing up over here. Again, different size things floating around, but if it was versus a raindrop versus a 2x4 or something, you know, that would be a little different. It would show up way different for us. So back over to the reflectivity, we're seeing some good notches here. These might likely will be extended. So let's get a little bit of a heads up to Portland. Yeah, that's going to be reissued most likely. I think now we're moving over into Detroit's neck of the woods eventually once we get over to the Lansing area. The National Weather Service, Detroit, I mean. We're in the Grand Rapids district still right now. So we got these notches here that you can see very well. And again, this means that we have something curving in like that, curving like that. So there's, oops, okay, well, let's start over because we just got a new update. Got a bunch of lines going through it there. I apologize, but either way, if we're not seeing the actual tornado possibility, we are seeing the straight line wind possibility for sure coming on through. And you're going to notice an abrupt shift in the winds because radar is very simple. It can tell if things are going towards the radar, it turns them green. So this is all going toward the radar. Things going away from the radar are red. So you're going to see an abrupt shift in wind direction here from going in toward the storm, feeding into it, to rushing out of it, away from the radar. So this is the gust front, if you will. And that can help feed the storms because it pushes the air ahead of it up. And it goes up into the sky and can help feed the storm that way. So just some fun facts for you. But either way, if you're along I-96, so I know we're kind of north of Lake Odessa here. It is a little bit sparsely populated, but there's still some homes and farms and businesses somewhere around just north of 96 over there, I believe, is Herbex, the egg farm. And getting over toward Portland. So yeah, we'll just say Portland, Sunfield, Milliken, you know, even over toward Grand Ledge. Just be prepared for a warning, a tornado warning to be issued if this holds on. But right now we might just be seeing more of a straight line wind event. And down to the south for Berrien County, we'll have to switch the radar sites really quick for us. There we go. Yeah, right over Buchanan, headed toward Niles. Yep, right there. So we're still seeing that threat, that possibility coming on through. The warning has not been extended yet. That is actually technically northern Indiana's National Weather Service district down there in that bottom row of counties. So I'm going to go back over to regular radar mode for you since that's what you're used to seeing all the time anyway. We got our Boeing segment here racing over toward the east. So Charlotte, get ready for that. Potterville, Grand Ledge, and eventually over toward the Lansing area too. We still have our tornado warning down to the south in Berrien County and a couple severe thunderstorm warnings. Now the severe thunderstorm warning, oops, see, there it is. So we have a fresh tornado warning now that was just issued. This is going to include Eaton County, Ionia County, Portland, and over toward Clinton County. So please be in your safe places there. It is time to head into the basement if you have one, or if you don't, that's okay. Go to the most interior room of your home. You just want to make sure there's as many walls, doors, whatever, between you and the outside wall of your home. And I know up by Portland, especially getting down toward the Eagle area, we do have a lot of mobile homes and a very large mobile home park there. So please, please be safe. If there is a sturdy building, a clubhouse, or an office that you have access to, that would be best rather than staying in a mobile home, especially if it's not anchored very well. So again, Potterville, Grand Ledge, Portland, Sunfield, Milliken, you have an active tornado warning headed your way right now. I'm going to switch it back over to our velocity here. So again, we're watching these areas of red and green that are right next to each other. We got one down here, which is just north of Vermontville, actually. And Nashville, oops, there it is. Yep, right north of Vermontville. This might actually be spinning up a little bit more. So anyone that is north of Vermontville, we're getting down toward, I believe that is M50 that goes on that diagonal. Yep, it turns into M43 for Sunfield and Milliken. So M50 down where it goes through Eaton County. This is north of Charlotte, but Vermontville. And eventually Sunfield, Milliken, Grand Ledge. Please be in your safe places, as well as Eagle. And actually over into the west part of Lansing. So this is including the Waverly area, Delphi Township, Diamonddale, Delhi Townships over there, Delta Township, excuse me, I do apologize. And again, we're watching just south of 96, so just south of 96. M43 is right here. M50 is right here. Just to get your bearings on the map. And I do want to read you the verbiage that is in there. So this is a radar indicated tornado, as it says right there in the middle. Could have hail up to about nickel size with it as well. The expected impacts. Flying debris is dangerous, so those caught without shelter. Mobile homes, not a great place to be. You could have damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles could occur along with tree damage. So, at 9:54 p.m., severe thunderstorms capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight-line wind damage were located along a line. That line is extending from near Lake Odessa to near Nashville, moving east at 55 miles per hour. Now, if you drive the speed limit, that is the speed you're driving at M40 east toward Lansing. So think about how long it takes from you to drive from Sunfield to Grand Ledge along M43. You're probably going about 55 miles per hour. It's going to take that long for the storm to get to you. Same thing with Vermontville. How long does it take for you to drive to Potterville? That's how long it's going to take to get to Potterville. So again, Portland, Milliken, Grand Ledge, Potterville, Diamonddale, the west side of Lansing, all needs to be in our safe places as these couplets make their way on through. And you can see these very well, right? I mean, they're pretty obvious here. So we got a notch right there and another one possible up on the northern side there. And these are both moving east at 55 miles per hour. So we got that way and that way toward Potterville. Okay, we just got another update from the radar. This is now east of Vermontville, getting really close to the M50 area. And what road is this? Allegan Road. M50 looks like it's called a couple of things. Clinton Trail and Cochrane Road. So we're watching these two couple of areas of rotation. So if you are just joining me, the way this works is the radar is very simple. It detects if things are going toward it. So I'm using the Grand Rapids radar. So it's detecting things are going towards it or things are going away from it. And in this case, kind of wrapping up like that. So towards and away causes rotation in between these two areas, and because the direction it's moving is due east, there's not much rotation there, but we are looking for areas of rotation coming through. Another way you can think about it is your hands. One hand is the red, one hand is the green. If they're right next to each other and you have a pencil in your hands, it rolls, right? So that's the rotation. Marker, pen, whatever. let's switch it back over to regular radar mode and take a look at our friends in other places. We still have those storms hanging on just north of Kalamazoo and Battle Creek. I'll put a movement on it here for you just so we can get our bearings better. Okay, that looks like it's about, this 94 is about as far south of that one as most likely going to get. So this is pretty much racing due east towards Lansing. Eventually that'll get toward Eaton Rapids, Mason. Oh, there we go. We just got another severe thunderstorm warning issued. This is also for considerable damage threat from 70-mile-per-hour winds. That is for Clinton and Ingham counties now. So Clinton and Ingham counties. Expect considerable tree damage. Damage is likely to mobile homes, roofs, and outbuildings. Locations impacted include Lansing, Mason, St. John's, East Lansing, Grand Ledge, Williamston, Leslie, Stockbridge, Elsie, Edgemont Park, DeWitt, Capital Region Airport, Eureka, Aurelius, Onondaga, Bunker Hill, Ovid, Weberville, Fowler, and Westphalia. So again, the main areas we are watching out for right now are Ionia, Clinton, Eaton, and Ingham counties, as well as Lansing. With the tornado warning coming on through, and down to the south in Berrien County, we're still seeing that warning ongoing. We do have more storms off to the west that are crossing over the southern part of Lake Michigan now. This line could also mean some serious business as it comes on shore. Okay, in addition to that, we look like we're developing what we call a wake low to the north, and that's just when the whole area starts spinning in a little area of low pressure, like a low pressure system, but it's called a wake low because it's in the wake of the storms coming on through. And that would be this rotation that you see up here. It's really, really broad. It's a huge area. It's a little low pressure that develops, but that can have some very high winds with it as well. And that might actually bring Mount Pleasant, Stanton, Montcalm County, some pretty strong winds with it also. Okay, so we still have that active tornado warning that is racing toward the Grand Ledge area now. So once again, Grand Ledge, it is time to be in your safe place. Lansing, the west side of Lansing at least, getting back over toward I-96 as it leaves town there. And Eagle, Potterville, please make sure you are in your safe places. I have to take a couple of drinks here. All right. So again, still watching this tornado warning as it comes on by. The main area we're watching out for is kind of right in the north central part of Eaton County, right over M50 at the moment. And that is going to be moving. Let's pause this quick. Okay, so Portland, momentarily you're about to see some activity, so please make sure you're in your safe place. Down to the south, I am watching this area. I'm going to loop it just one more time so I get my bearings totally right. Yep, pretty much due east. So this area is going to be headed pretty much right at Diamonddale and the southwest side of Lansing. I can zoom it in here even more just to take a peek. So again, if you're in the southwest part of Lansing, we got a lot of big industrial buildings here. You know, there's like, I believe Amazon and Meijer are out there, some of these large buildings. We got Lansing Road, Old Lansing Road, and of course 96 and 69, 496 as well. This is going to be headed your way, but I can't stress enough. Potterville, Diamonddale, and the west side of Lansing, please make sure you are in your safe place, as well as Grand Ledge, Mulligan, and Portland. Outside of that, there are damaging straight line winds likely. That is what those other warnings are for. So for Ionia County, Eaton County, Clinton County, and Ingham counties in the orange boxes, that is where we have the 70-mile-per-hour wind possibilities. Now that can create a lot of damage, and it's pitch black outside now, so therefore it's dangerous to be out there, especially if you're out driving, something like that. If you can hold off, please hold off a little bit. Again, a lot more activity that's about ready to head into Berrien County, Van Buren County, and eventually over toward Kalamazoo County as well. That tornado warning has expired now, further down to the southwest. So now, unless I've missed something, Yep, we got our one tornado warning left in the state of Michigan right now. So I will be focused on this heavily for those of you watching as it starts to head into Lansing, because now we have an active tornado warning with the activity starting to move into a populated area. So once again, we have a lot of people coming and going. That's why I'm going to be repeating myself a little bit. It's not because I like to hear myself talk. Actually, I don't. But what we got going on right now is the tornado warning that's moving east at 55 miles per hour. This tornado warning is in effect until 10:30, so about another 25 minutes. And as things are going, I would pretty much just anticipate this to be picked up for at least the northern part of Ingham County, which would be downtown Lansing, East Lansing, Michigan State University, and all those areas as well. So again, I'm watching this notch right here. I want to flip it back over to velocity just so we get a little bit of an update there. And again, it's this notch with the red and the green that I'm watching out for. And also turn it to that correlation coefficient that I was talking about earlier, just to make sure that I'm not seeing debris being lofted up in the atmosphere. And so far, so good, it looks like. This area blue is likely just a little bit of a break in the reflectivity. If I switch it over, there's probably going to be just a small lull there. Yep. Yep, so that's not concerning. That's not something flying around in the cloud. All right, so once again, if you're just joining me, we have an active tornado warning in effect for northern Eaton County, extreme southeastern Ionia County, that's probably about to be expired for that area, and southwestern Clinton County. Portland is in the thick of the heavy rain right now, as well as areas down along M50. This is going to be in Grand Ledge momentarily. All right, and we're just going to make sure that we're keeping up to date on everything. If you haven't signed up for my weather call service and would like to, there's a link to it in just about every post that I've made throughout the day. So feel free to scroll down and sign up. It's only $1.20 a month or about $15 a year, and it will just literally call your phone when there's a warning. I got my calls before the sirens went off, way before the sirens went off. I was doing a Facebook Live before they went off. So it's a really good service to have, in other words, if that's how you rely on getting your warnings. It came through almost at the same time my phone started going off from the National Weather Service dinging also. But it's just really cool because it will give you some verbiage with it in my voice. It tells you kind of exactly what's happening, whether it's been confirmed or it's radar indicated, how severe the damage level is, things like that. You'll also get a nice text to your phone with a link to a radar. So it's not an app. You click the link in the text and it will bring up a radar image with where you're at and show you the lightning strikes and all that. It's really, really cool. You can update the location if you're traveling, so it can follow you anywhere. It'll also send you a text if there's lightning, so if you like to go to the beach, golf course, boating, really, really good for that. But again, this is headed toward the Lansing area. I'm going to concentrate for a post really quick. So again, this is moving over to the east, getting awfully close to Grand Ledge and Potterville, as well as Waverly and the west side of Lansing, Edgemont Park, Eagle, and other areas that are just west of DeWitt in Clinton County. Definitely time to be in your safe place. We might be issued another warning for the rest of Lansing here, which would include Michigan State University. I know they're out on summer break, but still, there's a lot of people that live over there even in the summertime. So watch out for those areas, East Lansing, and hopefully not Williamston, but we might get pretty close to there as well if this keeps on the same path. Let's switch it back over to velocity to get our bearings again. So there we go. We just got a fresh outlook, a fresh scan coming on through. So it looks like, we're losing steam here a little bit, which is great. I'm not seeing the notch as defined, but keep in mind we're really far away from a radar site here. So this rotation is detecting us further up in the cloud. But this area north of Potterville, getting toward Diamonddale and kind of the intersection of, 69, 96, 496 on the southwest side of the city. We're going to have to watch out for that. And these are large, large industrial buildings. So you got, let's see, Windsor Township, St. Game area, Crates Road, and really all those areas between 496, 69, 96. Otherwise, all these orange boxes are for 70-mile-per-hour winds coming on through. Okay, still making our progress. We should get another scan here any moment. It's probably going to be really close to Diamonddale or right along where 96 and 69 merge for a minute. Let's flip it back over to regular radar to take a look at what else is going on. We still got the rain going on in northern lower. It's nice gentle rain, but I'm thinking that we're probably going to have some pretty gusty winds from White Cloud to Big Rapids and Mount Pleasant with this wake low that is developing. The UP, we got some rain going on up there, but no threats, no concerns. So really, it's just what's going on down to the south here. This is getting really close into the Lansing area. We do also have a severe thunderstorm warning down by Cassopolis. Now that's for 70-mile-per-hour winds. Technically, that's for Cass County, the whole county. So that's 70-mile-per-hour winds and considerable damage threat there. Kalamazoo, that warning has expired, as well as for Kent and Berry counties. Those warnings have expired. Just watching out for the Lansing area. So again, anyone in the Lansing area should take shelter. 70-mile-per-hour winds are no joke either. They can cause a lot of damage, blow things into your windows, break windows, trees coming down, things like that. So either way, I would definitely be taking shelter. The tornado warning areas, please, if you have a basement, that is the best place to go. Again, mobile home parks, unless there's like a sturdier building, an office or an actual storm shelter or clubhouse, something anchored to a foundation is the best place to be there. Otherwise, as long as there's as many walls between you and the outside of your home as possible, again, mobile homes, that doesn't really work because the whole thing can be lofted up in the air. All right, this is going to the east at 55 miles per hour, don't forget. I can actually look at two things at once here. Hopefully it's not too confusing. Oh, one side. Okay, so again, we're watching these notches coming on through, but I don't like that because it's not labeling anything for you guys. That's terrible. Now that notch is getting a lot closer to the Diamonddale area. Like I was mentioning, Grand Ledge, you are in the thick of one of the storms right now. Again, this is coming right into the Lansing area. All right, still waiting on that new scan. Once we get a new scan, I'll have a little better idea exactly what's going on. And, it's a tough call whether this is going to be extended or not. It definitely was extended at the last moment earlier. Okay, we got another tornado warning down to the south in Cass County. I'm going to zoom over there really quick. Okay, this one is showing a very distinct notch right there. So this is headed right towards Cassopolis. Cass County, you also need to be in your safe place. You need to get to a basement, take shelter immediately. Or, like I said earlier, for the Lansing area, put as many walls between you and the outside of your home as possible. So whether it's a hallway, an interior bathroom, even a closet, something like that would be the best place. A stairwell, as long as you're on the lower floor, would be a good place also if you don't have a basement. But this is going to head right towards Cassopolis. I'm going to switch it over to see if there's debris showing up on correlation coefficient. Ooh, we might be seeing a little bit of debris show up with that one. That's not the place I want to be seeing blue, that's for sure. I think we are seeing a touchdown with that. It says radar indicated, but I think it might be radar confirmed here in a moment. What we're seeing, or what I'm seeing here, is see how we have the uniform colors, and then we develop that blue dot out of nowhere, which is now right over Cassopolis. That means that we are likely seeing like leaves and sticks and stuff being wafted up into the atmosphere, and the radar is picking up on that. So back over to velocity, there's the very distinct notch right there. If nothing else is going on at the moment, we might have just had a brief touchdown with that debris being lofted up and being thrown out over to the east very quickly there. Let's see if I can see anything else. Definitely a notch with that one. So Cassopolis, Cass County, please, please, please be in your safe place. I do want to go back over to the Lansing area though, because we do have the area that I'm watching pretty much right over Diamonddale at the moment, getting into the Waverly area. So we have a very powerful thunderstorm with that tornado warning starting to get into the Lansing area. I'm going to switch it back over to our high resolution velocity, and it would be this area in southwest Lansing right by Diamonddale that we're watching. Now we just got a brand new update, so let's put this into motion. So they trimmed the warning but didn't issue another one. So I'm not sure if we might see it cross over the line and get issued here. We'll see. So we're still seeing some rotation, though it's very high up in the atmosphere. We're pretty much equal distance between the Detroit radar, about 58 miles. Still technically 10 miles closer to the Grand Rapids radar there. So I'll have better data from the Grand Rapids radar. That's why I was looking for you guys. All right, so this warning looks like it'll be allowed to expire technically 10 minutes, but it is moving over to the east. Now we have the 70 mile per hour wind threat. It's still being labeled tornado possible for Ingham County over toward Clinton County. And then, of course, the warning down by Cassopolis and Cass County. Got to switch radars here. I do apologize for all my jerking and zooming around. There we go. See how much better you can see that now? So this is a very serious situation. I can't stress this enough. If you're in Cass County or Cassopolis, please take shelter immediately. Take shelter immediately. That tornado is radar indicated. It is moving to the east at 30 miles per hour, so a little bit slower than the one off to the north. And that's in effect until 11 p.m. I am so sorry about that. Okay. Right, so we're still watching this one up in the Lansing area here. I want to hover on this because if we're going to be issued a tornado warning, it's going to come any moment now. So we'll see. This is also crossing over jurisdictions between Grand Rapids National Weather Service and the Detroit National Weather Service, so it's almost like a handoff or a baton pass and track, if you will. We're crossing from the Grand Rapids jurisdiction here to the Detroit jurisdiction here. Okay, so they've issued the severe thunderstorm warning. Most likely that's probably where it's going to stay then. Otherwise, we'd be in the warning area. But this is still something that we need to be taking shelter for because this is a warning for 70 mile per hour winds. The new warning is for 60 mile per hour winds. So the line is starting to lose a little bit of steam, which is fine. I do want to move it back over to the regular radar that you're used to that shows us rain and stuff like that. So again, now we have parts of, Livingston County as well as Shiawassee County. So this severe thunderstorm warning is for 60 mile per hour winds. This is going to be in effect until 11:15 p.m. Again, that is for Shiawassee and Livingston County at 10:21 p.m. Eastern Time. Severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending 9 miles northwest of St. John's to near Capital Region International Airport to 7 miles southwest of Eaton Rapids, moving east at 55 miles per hour. So the storm itself is moving as fast as these warnings are being issued for the wind speeds, because if the storm itself is moving 60 miles per hour and you got a little bit of a downdraft coming down, technically the air that's coming out of it is also moving at 60 miles per hour, so it doesn't take much to get a 60 mile per hour wind gust out of that. Let's go take a peek on our friends down in Cass County now. A little update here coming your way. Again, Cassopolis, please be in your safe place right now. It is imperative that you are in your safe place. We likely had a brief touchdown at one point from this tornado, and I don't want anyone to be caught off guard if that happens again. Okay, we just got a fresh update. Still watching this notched area right here. Let's take a look at correlation coefficient one more time. And I know it's a long name for sure, but it's just checking to see if there's different sized things flying around in the air. If We like when they're all the same size things flying around in the air. That means it's all rain or something like that. When there's different size things, that means that there's different size things. We got raindrops and 2x4s and leaves and stuff like that. We don't like to see that. So we like to see this purplish color, tan, whatever that is. We just don't like to see bright blue, but this isn't the bright blue that I'm worried about. It would be focused in a tiny like orb, like a ball. If it was a debris ball, that's why we call it a debris ball. This isn't anything over here, but that's kind of what it would look like if it was in the middle of the tornado warning. And I'm thinking we're just going to be letting this warning expire now, which will happen in the next 4 minutes. So there's the Grand Rapids radar. See how we got that nice uniform color? That's what we like to see. If there was a bright blue dot in the middle of that, that would be a debris ball. That's what we don't want to see. Okay, we're going to go back over to a more friendly version of the radar on the eyes. So this is crossing over the whole Lansing area at the moment. We have the severe thunderstorms with the 70-mile-per-hour winds going right through East Lansing and Michigan State University at the moment. That will eventually go over to the east throughout Meridian, Okemos, Meridian Township, Hazlet, and then eventually up into Shiawassee County and Livingston County. You're under the warning. It's definitely time to be indoors for sure for that 60-mile-per-hour wind threat that you have going on there. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of a trip down here just to focus for a minute into Cass County. There we go, a tighter version of the radar for you. And Cassopolis, this is it. You should be in your safe place. You've had several minutes of warning now, so please be in your safe place. It is right over you. That is a fresh scan that we just got in. Let's pinpoint some of the rotation if we can see it. Most likely just south of the city, but you know, this whole thing's kind of showing a couple notches possible there. But it would be this one right here, most likely, that we're watching for. But again, Cass County, it's just for a little while longer. Please be in your safe place. We have expired the tornado warning around the Lansing area, so now we're just looking at severe thunderstorms, but severe thunderstorms that have a considerable damage threat attached to them in the warning. We still have those storms ongoing for Eaton County as they continue to move off to the east. So one tornado warning for Cass County, a couple severe thunderstorm warnings. These ones have the considerable damage threat. The ones for Shiawassee County, which is Owasso and Corunna, as well as Livingston County, which is Brighton, Howell, Hamburg Township, Heartland, those are for 60-mile-per-hour winds, as you can see there. So therefore, there is not a considerable damage threat tag on there. The damage threat level with wind speed increases exponentially, so there's a much higher level of damage that occurs between 60 and 70 miles per hour as opposed to 50 to 60 miles per hour. That's why that gets attached to that, even though it might not seem like a lot more. The increase in exponential, which is like force you push on something, increases exponentially, and therefore it can cause a lot more damage. Okay, so still got the tornado warning in Cass County. Otherwise, we have that severe thunderstorm warning for the whole county for considerable damage from 70-mile-per-hour potential winds there as well. I want to put a loop on this because see how there's kind of a rotating spot there? That's what we call a wake low. And that wake low can have some very high winds with it. So even though you're not in a warning area, I would still watch out for areas of Montcalm County, the Big Rapids area, Isabella County, Mount Pleasant will likely have some pretty gusty winds come through with this, what we call wake low coming by. It could be 40, maybe 50 miles per hour. Could also throw on the velocity for that. So yeah, see how we're seeing those bright greens up there? It's pretty windy in Montcalm County right now, so that will be headed over into Isabella County, and maybe down to the south into Gratiot as well. All right, I'm going to switch radars one more time so we can check in on Cass County. This is now past Cassopolis, but it's still moving. Oh, it's just the east of town now. So this is moving along M60, Vandalia. We've got some roads there indicating some homes. Paradise Lake and Crane Pond State Game Area. We should all be in our safe places. Anywhere in the tornado warning should always be in a safe place. But those areas I'm watching out for. We got a lot of lightning strikes showing up around the Penn area and Vandalia as well. More lightning strikes means a little more organization in the cell. So this is a very strong thunderstorm, to say the least. Very strong thunderstorm, regardless of the tornado warning that's with it. The storms crossing through Lansing into Meridian Township, Okemos, Mason. Going to see them very soon. We're still under it in Eaton Rapids and Charlotte. Switch radars again to clean it up for you there. There we go. All right. Good amount of thunder and lightning across Eaton County with this. Again, racing over to the east. So now if you are in the Lanesburg area, get ready for some strong winds to come on through. Ovid, LC as well. So Lanesburg, Ovid, LC, and eventually Lanesburg right now. That update. Yep, we just got one right now. Now I can switch over to the Detroit radar. There we go. Watching that coming on through. I'm going to put a loop on it here for us again. We just like to see, the direction things move. Looping is good because our brains can kind of pick up on the patterns and directions themselves. All right, sorry about that. So getting our bearings once more, we're starting to cross over now into the National Weather Service Detroit's boundaries. Still seeing some thunder and lightning out my windows here in Grand Rapids as well. So we still have a little more activity coming on through, but that's not severe back there. But we do have that tornado warning as well as the now very heavy thunderstorms with a lot of thunder and lightning over by St. Joseph into Berrien County. And we're still keeping an eye on Cass County as well. This is still an active tornado warning. That tornado warning is still ongoing until 11 o'clock. Otherwise, the severe thunderstorm warning is ongoing for about the next 12 minutes or so, which I believe would take us right up to about 10:45. That's for 70-mile-per-hour winds. The tornado warning is still radar indicated. We will have to watch these storms to the south, which is going to be along and south of I-94 for the rest of the night. That is going to be, I would call it, I guess, our area of interest as we go throughout the rest of the night. So for those of you that need a visual, we got Jackson over toward the Battle Creek area, Coldwater, Hillsdale, Adrian, Monroe, and then pretty much right up to downtown Detroit along 94. So I'd be watching out in this area. In terms of Michigan, this is all going to get it as well down here. But in terms of Michigan, just the bottom 2 rows of counties where I'd be watching out for severe weather for the rest of the night. And again, if you want to go to bed, you can download my weather call service. Just save the number, the weather call number that it tells you. Save that number in your contacts list, then go into the contact and allow it to bypass your do not disturb. And it will literally wake you up in the middle of the night, even if your phone is on do not disturb or silent or anything like that. You'll also get a text with a radar. The link is in the comments of almost every post that I posted today. So just scroll down until you see one that says stay alert, stay ahead of the storm kind of thing. All right, I'm thinking this is going to be allowed to expire as well. We're going to take a look at the velocity again. And I don't know, maybe not. Kind of seeing re-notching there with some very intense winds out ahead of it. Goodness. Wow. Yeah, we got some high wind returns showing up here on this radar. This is where a lot of the energy is down to the south. This is far away from the radar. This is like 2 miles up in the sky here. Don't look at that. We'll switch it back over to reflectivity here for the moment. So here you go. Looking at these Boeing segments again. Definitely losing a little bit of steam for sure. Let's switch over to the Detroit radar again. There we go. We're still going to have some strong winds come on through, but it is definitely losing a little bit of steam there. And as always, if you have any pictures or video, I know it's pitch black out, feel free to send them to me. You can send me a message in my inbox, or you can email them to bradsugdenwx@gmail.com. All right, just kind of waiting on a radar scan to pop up here right now while I check for some comments from you all. I do try to browse comments and help as much as I can. I had a lot of people message me today about the weather call service, like a lot. DMs, comments, tagging me, which is great, and I think I helped a lot of people out. I can only see so much, though. Just keep that in mind. I can't see every comment. Okay, so still a tornado warning for Cass County in southwest Michigan. And the line off to the north is losing steam rather quick here. Absolutely losing some steam. The earlier round of clouds and light rain that came through really helped take a chunk out of these in the atmosphere. But a couple of the models were indicating this might be a Grand Rapids and South thing anyway, and it did pretty well. Definitely remember that going forward. Let's take a check of our friends in the Upper Peninsula. I'm sure none of them are really watching right now unless they're very interested in weather hundreds of miles away from them, which they could be. But we are looking at just some rain up near Marquette. Some steady, good soaking rains, that's for sure. That'll help the fire danger a lot. And continue to help it. Now, the bug problem up there is not going to be helped a lot, that's for sure. There's a lot of bugs this year up north in the UP. All right. Switching back over, we're getting really close to the Detroit radar now. So yeah, there we go. Fresh update. Definitely slowing down their progression as well. I feel like I've been hanging out here forever. But still, severe thunderstorm warning for Owasso, Corunna, down into Livingston County for Howell. And then we still have the warning in effect for Ingham County as well, with the storms kind of bisecting the middle part of the county at the moment. We have heavy storms that are not severe over the Kalamazoo area, and we still have our tornado warning, which is in effect for Cass County for 21 more minutes. Lots of thunder and lightning showing up in the Kalamazoo area, Portage, over by Paw Paw. Some good heavy downpours coming through, but not severe. All right, looks like we're seeing a little bit of some re-notching down there for the southernmost part of this morning, which is now southeast of Cassopolis and west of Constantine. This is unfortunately headed toward Three Rivers. Three Rivers is right here, and I know this is the last thing that we want to see coming. Trust me, I understand. I was down there with you all, and I would be a little nervous as well. If we do get issued a warning for Three Rivers, it will be popping up right live on your screen right here. I do want to flip it back over to the velocity now. There we go. So see how we got these bright green and red areas showing up? There's actually a couple of them. Those areas are what we call notches that we're going to be watching out for. And those notches indicate rotation. We have a lot of activity down to the south. A lot of activity down to the south, that's for sure. So there's a huge Boeing segment going across Indiana right now, and we're on the northern fringes of that Boeing segment. You can see the wavy line here indicating possible rotations that gust on through parts of Cass County. Off to the north around the Lansing area, the storms are now moving to your east into, again, Shiawassee, Ingham, and eventually Livingston County here in just a few. There it goes. Okay, so we now have an active tornado warning that is going to be in effect. This is radar indicated. This brand new tornado warning is for eastern Cass County and St. Joseph County. So all of St. Joseph County. This is in effect until 11:30. It includes Three Rivers. Three Rivers. We're doing it again, unfortunately. Please head to your safe place. Please head to your safe place in Three Rivers. I'm going to read you the verbiage here. This is going on for the next 47 minutes. So that would take us right till 11:30. At 10:42 p.m., severe thunderstorms capable of producing a tornado were located along the line extending from near Marcellus to near Simonton Lake, moving northeast now at 45 miles per hour. This is radar indicated. So we have radar indicated rotation headed right toward the Three Rivers area. I'm also going to be making this a post that people can share on Facebook. So Three Rivers, time to be in our safe place. Again, the best place is in a basement. There's a lot of damaged structures there. Please, I know this sounds terrible. If you don't need to be in a damaged structure, that would be great if there's somewhere else you can go. All right, so once again, Three Rivers, please head to your safe place. All of St. Joseph County is now under a tornado warning as these storms move over to the east-northeast at 45 miles per hour. Okay, so once again, I just want to reiterate that we are under a tornado warning in St. Joseph County, Michigan, which includes Three Rivers. That is in effect until 11:30 p.m. The storm is moving east-northeast at 45 miles per hour. Tornado warning, which unfortunately includes tornado-ravaged Three Rivers. This is in effect until 11:30. Behind it, we have a thunderstorm over South Bend that is a ton of lightning with it. We also now have a severe thunderstorm warning for Genesee County that will be in effect until midnight. That is for 60-mile-per-hour winds, and it is indicating that a tornado is possible. That is moving east at 50 miles per hour. So that is moving east at 50 miles per hour into Genesee County. And then again, we have the tornado warning down by Three Rivers, including all of St. Joseph County, and that is in effect until 11:30. Three Rivers, once again, please be in your safe place. Let's flip it over to correlation coefficient. Don't think we're seeing a ton there. Let's take a look. Okay, so correlation coefficient, again, is just what I use to look at the possibility for some debris. But we're looking at this notch right here, which moving off to the east-northeast would probably just go south of town at the moment here. This last one went, pretty much right through the southern side of Three Rivers. All right, so Three Rivers, the best place that you can be is in a basement, of course. If you don't have a basement, just make sure there's as many walls between you and the outside of the building or your home as possible. You just want to be as far away from windows as you can be in case they break and there's flying glass and debris, things like that. Now, every situation is different. There's no saying this is going to be exactly like the last one because every situation is different. So please don't let the previous one, scare you into oblivion. It is something to take seriously, as always, but this doesn't mean that being radar indicated doesn't mean that, at least as of yet, we have any word of a destructive tornado on the ground or anything like that. But I'm watching out for it, and we're going to walk you through it here. All right. So I'm going to keep it on the velocity mode here, and we'll get another scan momentarily. All right, so once again, I'm watching for this tornado warning that is active for St. Joseph County. That's the only tornado warning we have in Michigan at the moment. We got a couple severe thunderstorm warnings now for Shiawassee, Genesee, and Livingston counties. Those are for 60-mile-per-hour winds and some smaller hail. The storms up there are losing a little bit of speed, to be totally honest. All right, so we're watching out for this right here. And another notch down there because we got this, little addition onto the tornado warning. So this again is tracking off to the east-northeast. Should take it just south of Three Rivers, but we got other little teeny notches going off to the north as well. It is still a serious situation. Still, please be in your safe place. And then before you know it, it'll be over. So again, this is an active tornado warning for St. Joseph County, including Three Rivers. That is in effect until 11:30. It is radar indicated rotation and has not been confirmed. Radar indicated rotation. I do want to see about adding storm reports on here. Okay, maybe we're just not showing them. All right, so you can see this area right here. That's the one we're watching. Let's put a loop on it just to see exactly which specific direction it's going here. So this actually might be going to the southeast. All right, well, south would be better than north into Three Rivers. That is a very interesting direction that is taking. Yeah, feeding off its own stuff. Okay, yeah, so this is the area that we are watching, which would be going to the south of Three Rivers at this point. That's why we like to put things on loops to see what exactly is going on here. These polygons are all over the place. So now we have observed tornado with the one that's right at the border of Indiana. Tornado producing storm. Okay. Source radar confirmed. That would mean somebody saw a debris ball. That little guy right there, that's the culprit. So there's definitely a little bit of damage being done just south of the Michigan border. Let's put that on a loop and get a good look at it. Yep, that would be the culprit right there. That's a little debris ball showing up. And I can tell because this little guy, if I flip it back to the regular radar mode, it's going to be right underneath the storm and not ahead of it. See? The other stuff's ahead of it. That was right under this area. So that's a radar confirmed tornado because we can see the debris flying up with that little debris ball. Back to velocity because we like to see exactly where the rotation is. This velocity with this little warning down here is a mess. Kudos to those guys for picking it out. This is kind of a mess up here. Don't take this. You know, this is not 100 little tornadoes in a row, that's for sure. So just looking out for the possibility for most likely a brief spin up. But I think this is our culprit right here. If it keeps on that track, it's going to go right into the other one. This warning still radar indicated. This one is observed. All right, I'm just kind of waiting for a couple of scans here. There's just not a whole lot to say. On TV, they always made us fill every second with talking, but sometimes you just gotta wait for the next scan to come in here. All right. Again, I'm really after being in the Three Rivers area for that tornado event, and I got a big project coming with that actually that I can announce pretty soon. But I just, I feel for those folks down there, especially over toward Union City as well. I had a project that I was working on that just wrapped up, and we'll be able to make an announcement here shortly. We got tornado warning right now for Three Rivers, Constantine, down by Montville and White Pigeon. Let's take a look at our correlation coefficient again. Just, yeah, it's just this little thing showing up there. All right, so again, Three Rivers, please be in your safe place still. This is still a situation that we have to keep track of, but I think I'm starting to see another Boeing segment with an inflow notch up here. I want to put this on a loop again, just to see what's going on with that. Very, very cool. So see how we kind of had those two storms running together right where that tornado is. And another one right there where that area is running together. Very interesting. You can also kind of see on the backside how it's still coming down from the northwest. So you have this line ahead of it, the line behind it caught up to it. And it's okay. Yep, so that's good. That's causing a lot of spin. Absolutely. Absolutely. So see the line behind it caught up to it, merged with it. Now we're seeing an explosion of lightning coming out of that as well. That's interesting. That's fascinating from a meteorologist's perspective. That's why it's so hard to track. Okay, back over to our velocity. I do apologize for my real-time commentary, but sometimes weather is very fascinating. So again, we're looking most likely for this area here. We got the other area down to the south that I can't quite see anymore. Should be out ahead of it a little bit more. All right. So, but you can see we got more activity surging off to the north and east as well. Okay, so Three Rivers, we've had a good warning with this. I hope you're all in your safe place. That would be fantastic. As well as all of St. Joseph County. And if there's anyone watching for Northern Indiana, I guess, welcome. Indiana Storm Chasers should be live also for those folks down there. So a couple other patterns to pick out here. When I see it on the loop, yeah, we got this main one right here. Moving down to the south and the east. I have some very strong winds on the backside of it too. And I just saw a lightning bolt go across the sky out my window in Grand Rapids, so we still have some activity up there as well. Not even showing up yet, it's so new. I hear it already, so it's close. It's about a mile away. It's about 5 seconds. If you ever want to count the time between the lightning and when you hear the thunder, 5 seconds equals a mile. The sound travels at around 1,100 miles per hour, and a mile is almost 5,300 feet. So, doing the math, that would be about 5 seconds. Not the rumored 1 second is a mile that I grew up with. Okay, so I want to go back down to the tornado warning for St. Joseph County. The National Weather Service in Indiana reported a 70-mile-per-hour wind there. Okay, so it looks like the worst of it is now past Three Rivers. So Three Rivers, you're good. It's still going to storm, but in terms of tornado threat, you're good. You're good. I want to put it on a loop here just to prove it to you. Now we still have Sturgis in that warning area though. So Sturgis, please be in your safe place as well. But Three Rivers, you are in the clear for now. We'll put a loop on the ones up in Genesee County as well really quick. Still a good amount of wind with these, but they're definitely losing steam. Okay, cool thing here. See this little line right there out ahead of the storm? That's a shelf cloud. So, yeah. Okay, so areas like Chelsea and Sylvan Township, Ann Arbor. Isn't Pinckney out there somewhere? Yeah, they probably seeing a really cool shelf cloud come through right now. Grass Lake, Napoleon. This is a cool look. That means that there's a shelf cloud. So what that is, it's the wind gusting out of the storm, and it kicks up a little bit of like dust and stuff out ahead of it, and pushes it along in a line, so we can actually see the air rushing out with that little line, and that usually means there's also a shelf cloud too. All right, so it's storming like crazy up in Three Rivers, and again, I know it sounds super weird, but the tornado threat has passed for you. Most of it's this area right out front here. So Constantine kind of right over us at the moment. Please be in your safe place, and eventually Sturgis as well. You can see all the big buildings in Sturgis, Meijer and Walmart and all that. So please be in your safe place. And I do believe we're losing a little bit of the oomph here with this, so this warning may not be extended. Yeah. Okay. I knew we were lagging data there for a second. That's why we had a big jump. We missed a scan somehow. I knew that was looking weird. All right, back over to regular radar mode. All right, so again, Sturgis, we definitely need to be in our safe places because this other one down here had a history of producing a tornado as well. In addition to this area that I'm watching up here, they're kind of both like probably going to merge really close to right over the city. I can mute my mic too, so you don't have to listen to me drink water. All right, so again, St. Joseph County, we're still under this tornado warning. We did get a report. Wind damage report 1 mile west of White Pigeon. Truck blown off the road. Wow. It was reported at 10:55 by the emergency manager for St. Joseph County. 1 mile west of White Pigeon, we had a truck blown off the road. So these storms are meaning business for sure. Definitely be in your safe place if you're in this tornado warning. This is a lot of wind to blow a truck off the road. And that was right there, that little symbol that popped up. I got the storm reports popping up here for you. This is all lightning on the back side of it. Okay, that was a big jump again. So this area, if a truck was blown off the road, we probably just had another brief touchdown by a tornado here. So Sturgis, safe places immediately. Please be in your safe places immediately. We had a truck blown off the road conveniently where the center of the rotation was that I was watching for. We're going back to correlation coefficient. Put it on a loop here. And this debris ball showed up right there. It's very hard to see, but it did. Let me put it on a loop again for you. So this bright blob in the mix that I'm looking for, that is likely a debris ball, which means we do have a tornado on the ground causing damage. And that is going to be awfully close to the city of Sturgis, maybe technically just to the north side of town, but still Sturgis should be in their safe places. And hopefully when we get another scan here, I'm going to call out some roads. So this is going to the east a little bit. So we're looking at Balk, Grimm, Schrader, North Centerville roads around the city of Sturgis. Wilson as well. And Steuby, even Airline Road could be, again, this could be a tornado debris signature. right there. So just went over an area called Bluff Beach. After blowing a truck off the road 1 mile west of White Pigeon. It blew a truck off the road. So I think that is definitely a little debris ball. That's what I've been looking for. See how everything's uniform? And then boom, you have some blue and greens right there in a nice little ball shaped. Conveniently where there's just a damage report? Yes. Most likely that is the debris that we're being picked up. Put a loop on it here for you. Yeah, see, it went right over it. Right as those two lines merged, right over it. So hopefully it was just a brief spin up and nothing more. Yep, that's, yeah. So Northern Indiana National Weather Service will send out a survey for that most likely tomorrow. I want to go back to regular radar for a moment here. Again, a lot of thunder and lightning on the backside of this and what we call the stratiform precipitation. We're even still seeing some lightning and thunder up in the Grand Rapids area. Even got a little bit of thunder and lightning across mid-Michigan and northern lower as well. And remember, could still be having some pretty strong gusty winds around the Mount Pleasant area right now also. Got the warnings out for Genesee County. So right into Flint, Grand Blanc, Burton, down by Fenton, we're starting to see that Boeing area come on through. Not much of a storm at this point, but still a strong area of winds with some rain coming on through. And then, of course, we're still watching St. Joseph County. It is raining cats and dogs in St. Joseph County, that's for sure. But yeah, watching this little notch right here, you can kind of see how there's an inflow notch causing a little bit of that rotation. I'm very curious to see what the next scan shows, if it's going to just be something brief and fall apart, or if it's going to try and maintain itself. Usually things like this are just brief. We just had a lot of storms running into each other, which I'll prove to you right now. We had the backside, that line. Look at that. It just slammed right into the line out ahead of it. And wow. I'm sure there were some weird looking clouds there for that. Okay, so we've adjusted the tornado warning now. Still going with radar indicated, not radar confirmed. Now that those storms have ran into each other successfully, it might not be as crazy, but you can see that we're still seeing good flow from the south going up into that main cell that has that tornado warning with it. But yeah, I can't get over that. Look at that. Just slammed right into it. So there's probably an absolute ton of wind going through there right now as well. That's not something you can just stop. Yeah, look at that. That's a lot of wind. We're not even that far away from the radar site there. Lots of wind for sure. Storm relative, though, takes the movement of the storm out of it, so it's a little more of a clear picture as to actually the rotation instead of the rotation that's also going 55 miles per hour in a direction. It takes out that 55 mile per hour aspect. It's like, hey, we already know that. Let's get rid of that data so we can have the more visual representation of where exactly that tornado is. Right, so that looks like it is passing the city of Sturgis right now. I want to put that debris ball version on there again. It'd be right there, that little guy just north of Sturgis. Let's see if that's still underneath of a storm. A little bit. I think something is going to be found to have tracked from the White Pigeon area to just north of Sturgis and maybe Burr Oak and Bronson eventually. It would be this right here. All right, so let's see. Radar updates. Still watching this area, which is now east of Sturgis. Not seeing that warning continued yet, but remember, we do like to wait until the last second to make sure it's actually a warning and not make people numb to it. I just saw another crazy lightning bolt out my window in Grand Rapids here, so we got a lot of cloud to cloud lightning going on out there. And the lone warning for Genesee County is still there, but we just saw that we were issued a severe thunderstorm warning. So that severe thunderstorm warning is for considerable damage threat, and that would be for Coldwater, for 70-mile-per-hour winds. And that is for Branch County with Coldwater. Branch County with Coldwater. So Branch County, severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect until midnight for 70-mile-per-hour winds that can cause a considerable amount of damage. This tornado warning for St. Joseph County will expire in 12 minutes, and since it wasn't issued again ahead of it, we might be allowing it to expire. The storm relative velocity that I have on now is not showing too much, except just a little teeny bit right there, and I think that is going to be, again, allowed to expire. We have a special weather statement for Oakland County. That special weather statement says 50-mile-per-hour winds, possible with that. That is going to be in effect until 12:15 or quarter after midnight. Gusty winds could knock down tree limbs and blow around unsecured objects. Strong thunderstorms will be near Milford, Holly, South Lyon, and Ortonville around 11:20 p.m., which is right now. Novi and Clarkson around 11:25 p.m., so that's in 5 minutes. Northville around 11:30, that's in 10 minutes. Pontiac, Oxford, West Bloomfield around 11:35, so in 15 minutes from now. Troy and Southfield around 11:40, that is 20 minutes from now. Royal Oak, Birmingham, and Rochester at 11:45. Sterling Heights and the Detroit Zoo, which is also in Royal Oak / Oak Park, 11:50. Warren, 11:55. So again, 50-mile-per-hour winds. They're losing steam, but they're still strong. And that tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire, and I'm not seeing one being issued. We'll stay on just to make sure it's not. I'm also keeping an eye on the viewer count. as well. Still got many people watching. Looks like we got a report here. We got 50 mile per hour winds reported in Owasso at the airport. 50 miles per hour, 50. Look at all that thunder and lightning down by Kalamazoo. Goodness gracious. Three Rivers Light Show. All right, so again, Three Rivers, that was a little too close for comfort, absolutely. But I think we dodged it, at least in Three Rivers. But the southern part of St. Joseph County, again, a truck was blown off the road, reported by the emergency manager of St. Joseph County, 1 mile west of Pigeon. On the map here, there's a symbol for it. And that symbol is at West Chicago and White Pigeon Road. I'm guessing that's a little bit of a neighborhood or something out there for the truck to be blown off the road. But now we have Branch County with Coldwater that is under a severe thunderstorm warning. Again, those winds could be 70 miles per hour, which is considered considerable damage threat. That can cause a lot of damage to trees. It can cause, some damage to structures. It could break a window or something like that. So definitely something to take seriously as well. And then, of course, you have power lines coming down, trees falling down, and things like that. Another big flash of lightning out the window in Grand Rapids. Yeah, the backside of these storms have a lot of lightning. That tornado warning only has 6 minutes left now. We do have around 70,000 customers in the state of Michigan without power now at the moment. Last night, I think we topped out over 120, if I remember right. The counties with the most outages are Berry, Calhoun, Ionia, and Kent counties. Now, Berry County did have a lot of leftover outages from yesterday still, last time I checked. So those all might not be from today. All right, so we are down to 2 lone warnings now. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for Genesee County for 60 mile per hour winds. This blue thing over Oakland County, that is a special weather statement for 50 mile per hour winds that could be going through Oakland County in the next 30 minutes. And then we have our tornado warning that's about to expire right at 11:30. And then we have another severe thunderstorm warning for Branch County. That one's going to be in effect until midnight for 70 mile per hour winds. All right, so that warning is going to be allowed to expire. Let's go back over to the normal radar that you are all used to seeing all the time, and we're going to take a little tour quick. So we're on the Grand Rapids radar now. Got our heaviest area of storms from Marshall to Battle Creek down south toward the Indiana border. Nice little cell popping off there, right on the border of Livingston and Washtenaw County. We have our special weather statement for 50 mile per hour winds for Oakland County, and that goes until quarter after midnight. Severe thunderstorm warning has just expired for Genesee County right as I clicked on it. That was weird. We have some good, steady, soaking rains for northern lower, and some of those folks up there sure need it, so we'll take it. Likewise, for the upper peninsula, we have some good soaking rains coming down up there. things are about to get a little chilly too. Don't forget, behind this, it's going to be much colder in the Upper Peninsula over the next several days. Some areas are only going to be in the 50s for highs. So fire danger is not going to be much of a concern up there with that after this. I do think I just saw another storm report in Sturgis. Oh gosh. Hoping for the best for you, Sturgis. Let's click on that really quick. 911 call center has reported trees and power lines down in Sturgis. Okay, so we did have damage in Sturgis from that coming on through. Trees and power lines down. I hope it's not like structures damaged and buildings, things like that, because that is right where that potential tornado was. Because there was another storm report by White Pigeon, so that would track. But again, that's over. The new warning is going to be, oops. There we go. Okay. And still some pretty good storms. Again, along and south of 94 is going to be the area that I'd watch out for the rest of the night. I can draw it on here for you. I would say literally along and south, like M59, 96, right down into the border. So this is the area that I'd watch out for the rest of the overnight hours. That tornado warning has expired. Okay, so since we're down to one warning now and a special weather statement, this is stuff that I can just post for you. Yes. This is just radar junk. Please don't say this is HAARP or something like that. I can't handle that right now. Don't. It's just things happen with radar beams and there's resonations and all this kind of stuff. It's fine. That's nothing crazy. It's not HAARP. Anyway, so I hope you guys all have a great rest of your night. Stay safe. If something else crazy happens, I will hop back on here. But since my TV days are over, the days of sitting on here to sit on here are over too. So I will be posting still. So follow my page for those updated posts. But it's not something that I feel I need to sit on here unless there's something crazy happening. If there was like a hail core with 4-inch hail, obviously I would stay on. If there was a wall of wind going through downtown Detroit, I would stay on. But a special weather statement and a severe thunderstorm warning that are on the borderline. Yeah. Okay. So you guys have a great night. This video will repost if for some reason you want to watch it. You can scroll through it and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, have a wonderful night. Thanks for tuning in. I hope I provided you some good information, and I hope we get